My camera died, so I had to charge it a little bit more. But I left off. Chris got his Instagram back, and everybody saw how he posted shout for shout out or whatever. When I saw that, I was like, oh, this is different. I've never seen him do that before. And then I noticed that he was following like 19 practically naked girls. One of my friends called it OnlyFans girls. So I noticed that, and I was like, in my head, I was like, he could do whatever he wants on his Instagram. This is Instagram. He could follow whoever he wants. I just found it very weird that he was only following a whole bunch of naked girls. And in my mind, I started to think about how he pressed me the night before about who I was following. So in my head, I'm thinking, did he just press me yesterday night so that I don't have to question him about what he did today? Like, you know, what he did that present day, about him following those girls or whatever. And I said, it does make sense. I mean, you guys let me know. If I'm thinking too hard, maybe I'm thinking too hard, maybe I'm digging too deep into things. But I feel like a lot of men out there, not just Chris, I feel like a lot of men justify their actions with almost anything and everything. And they would try to put it on you so that they're the victim and they could get away with it. So in my mind, I'm like, I can't believe he pressed me last night about some nonsense about me following people. And when we've had these conversations way like months ago on Instagram of like people who I follow. I used to follow people we dated before, and I was like, I don't really talk to them, so it doesn't really matter. So for him to bring it up out of left field after getting his Instagram back, I was like, something is coming after this. And sure enough, that happened. He started following 19 different girls that were practically naked and doing a shout for shout out, which, I mean, I don't know why he did that, but it is what it is. I didn't question him about it. Honestly, I didn't say nothing to him about it at all. I know people were like finding it weird, and people were telling me like, oh, you look stupid, Leslie. And it did make me feel some type of way that he posted another girl on his story, because it's like, bro, we're working together. You're making me look weird. You're making me look stupid right now. Like, why did you have to do that? I get it's a shout for shout out, but to start off with shout for shout out, there has to be some kind of dialogue there. I know there was a communication there that I don't know what happened. I don't know what you guys were talking about. Nor does it really matter, but you're making me look some type of way. So with that being said, I gave him his breakfast. I was quiet. I was kind of in a funky mood a little bit. I was just quiet and I was just to myself. I didn't want to dig deep into that situation. I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to start an argument. I already knew what he did or what he was trying to do the night before. Like set it up for him. And I noticed that really quickly, and I didn't like that. I really don't like that. I don't like when someone tries to justify their actions. I think it's just better you just do it and let it be. Because the minute that you justify your actions or you find a reason to do what you're going to do, I feel like you're always going to do things like that. And I feel like that is toxic. I don't feel like that's genuine. I just feel like the whole relationship will be surrounded around that. It will always be, I have to be on tiptoes and be careful what I'm going to do, or be careful with anything that I do, because he's a type to be like, oh, you did this, I'm about to do this, or like try to pick something from me so that it gives him a reason to get away with it and do what he wants to do. So that's what triggered me the most. But I didn't say nothing. I just kept it. Those are one of the things that I just digest, keep it in my mind, way back in my mind, and never forget. And remember that for future encounters. So with that being said, I didn't say nothing, but I guess Chris felt my vibes. And I don't think he only felt my vibes. I think he knew it even before he felt my vibe. Like, he knows that that was a trigger to social media, and it could have been for me too. But because he set that last night, he set that stepping stone for the next day, he knew there wasn't going to be no room for me to say anything. Because had I said anything, he would have been like, but you follow these dudes, you follow this and you follow that. So that's why I didn't bother mentioning it to him, because I knew that would have been a lost argument and it was pointless. So I didn't say nothing to him. But he did ask me, so are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm fine, just quiet watching TV. And that was that. So watching TV, I can feel his vibes. He's starting to feel, I guess, my energy. If not my energy, his guilty conscience, knowing he didn't do anything wrong, but what he tried to do, what he tried to get away with, and why I put like a tape in my mouth, you can't say nothing. But I tried to go on the day and I was like, oh, you want to go out to eat? Let's go out to eat. Let's try out this restaurant that this girl told me about. So I'm like just trying to go with the day and trying to have a nice day with him. And went to the restaurant. It was the most awkward experience ever, because he was eating with his head down, with his face down, not saying a word to me, being very quiet, not communicating with me, just being so distant. It was probably the worst dinner experience I've ever had with anybody. It was awkward as shit, and I didn't know how to fix it, because it would have been difficult. Like I could have expressed my feelings, but then I felt like he would have shut me down with, oh, who you follow these people. It's just so petty. So that's why I didn't want to bring it up. So I was like trying to like, hey, you want to try this dessert? He was just being very quiet on his phone with his head down, being very like, don't want to look at me. And I'm just like, why is he acting like this? This is so annoying. Like, forget the whole Instagram, forget all of that. Just stop acting like that. So whatever the case may be, we got home, still not talking. Maybe this is my fault. Maybe if it is my fault, I take full responsibility, because maybe had I said something or reacted or expressed my feelings, it wouldn't have lasted that long. But I just felt in my heart that it wasn't gonna go anywhere. So I didn't say nothing. When we got back to the house, he went straight to this couch, laid down, put TV on, he laid out. I got in the shower, was getting ready for bed, got comfortable, I got in bed, put the TV on. I expected him to come to bed too. It didn't seem like he was. And I was on Instagram. I see that, you know, I think he started following more people. I didn't say nothing. So I went on my Instagram and I went through my follow list, and the two guy friends that I met in California, I refollowed them because they were still following me. And I was like, well, there's nothing wrong with me following them, because I never did nothing with them. They never tried me funny. They never tried me or disrespected me, or we never had a conversation like that, for that matter. Nothing. I was like, you know what? I mean, if Chris is gonna follow whoever he wants to follow, why can I not follow who I want to follow? So it was kind of one of those things. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just follow them. And it was very nonchalant. I didn't do it maliciously. I didn't do it to get back at him. I didn't do it to piss him off or anything like that. I just did it because it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be me telling you who to follow, because I didn't. I never told him not to follow those people. I never said, why did you follow them? I didn't do none of that. So I was like, if I'm not doing that to him, he shouldn't do that to me. I should never gave him the right to even try to control what I do on social media. So anyway, I followed my two guy friends back, and I'm calling them our friends, and I just met them in Cali, but we really clicked. Those guys were super cool. So I followed them back. I was laying in my bed, chilling, scrolling through my feed, and I know I realized that Chris stopped following me. Chris unfollowed me. He unfollowed me, and I think then he blocked me. I was wondering, like, is he doing this for some attention? Is he doing this so that we can spark up a conversation because we haven't spoken all day about nothing? Is he doing this for some attention? I didn't initially think it was because I followed those guys back, but it pissed me off because I was like, why would he unfollow me knowing that people watch our Instagram? Social media is crazy and people are gonna assume things. Like, why would he do that? So I got up from my bed and I came to the living room. I was like, Chris, why did you unfollow me? And he was like, oh, because you lied to me about how you was feeling this morning. I was like, what do you mean I was lying to you? He was like, oh, because you feel some type of way. He said, you feel some type of way about who I was following, whatever, and the girl that I posted. And I was like, that's why you unfollow me? That doesn't make sense, Chris. That's retarded. Why would you do that? Kept going back and forth. And then he finally starts to say, oh, you following dudes that I told you not to follow. And I said, what? What type of form of manipulation, controlling shit you on? Because that is not going to work with me. You cannot just do whatever you want to do and try to control me. It doesn't work like that. So without getting into too much details, we kept going back and forth. Things escalated. I was calling him out on the things that he was doing because I'm not with that. I catch on to things. And I was just basically trying to tell Chris, like, I don't care what you do or who you follow or anything like that. I just don't want you to justify your actions. I don't want you to put me up against a wall and try to stop me from expressing how I feel or question you about something because you try to justify it through me. I was basically trying to tell Chris not to move how he wants to move. Do what he wants to do. Don't try to justify his actions and don't try to play the victim. Don't do that because I feel like you're going to do that in the relationship. If there was ever a relationship to bloom, I feel like you are the type of person to do that, to justify your actions. Be like, oh, you doing this or you did this, so I'm going to do this. So that if I ever question it, I can't. I just feel like that's a form of manipulation and I didn't appreciate that because I really didn't do anything wrong. My following was the same. The people that he told me to unfollow, I did unfollow them. And the current people that he was talking about, those are people that I followed way before I even met him. Way before I even got to collaborate with him. So with that being said, that whole argument that night was basically like, I want you to understand that you could do whatever you want to do. Just don't try to play the victim or don't try to justify your actions. Don't do that. Just do it. And that's basically it. It escalated. It got disrespectful. He called me on my name. And for things not to get worse than what they were already, I told one of my friends to tell him to leave. To leave because I felt so disrespected. Even though he had a flight the next day, because we were supposed to leave the next day back to Houston together, but I couldn't leave because my debit card got canceled and I needed to wait for a new card and I didn't want to travel without a card. So it was already established that I wasn't going to go to Texas. But he was still going to go because he still had to take care of things. But that night, it escalated. It got so disrespectful and I felt so violated in my house. And I felt so unappreciative of the person that I am and the way I was treating you while you were in my house. How I made this home for you and did my best to make you feel comfortable and take care of you, for you to disrespect me in my house and say something that should have never came out of your mouth. It could come off a little contradicting because I've said some things to him back in Texas that I shouldn't have. And he's never asked me to leave or anything like that. He never did that to me, but I just couldn't take it. I didn't. It was already, for me, it was like, it happened in Puerto Rico. He said something in Puerto Rico he shouldn't have said, and he apologized for it. And then we get to my house, and he says something that you know you shouldn't have said. It was like, it happened, it was like one after the other, and I couldn't handle that. I was like, you need to go, because now it's gone too far. You in my house, and you being disrespectful after how I am with you? No. So I did ask him to leave that night. I didn't want him to stay in my house, but he he couldn't leave because there wasn't any rooms or any hotels, so he had to wait for the next day to leave and catch his flight. His flight was like later in the day, but he still ended up leaving early in the morning. He didn't talk to me in the morning. We didn't exchange any words. The only thing he did do was apologize that night, and he was like, I'm sorry for calling you this, and I'm gonna leave tomorrow morning. I was like, okay. So he ended up leaving in the morning. I ended up texting him. I guess it was too late because I felt bad because I didn't want him to feel like I kicked him out or I would leave him in the streets or whatever like that. I'm not that kind of person. My heart was heavy knowing that he was out in Orlando in the airport that early for all those hours. I wrote to him and said, you know, you could have stood here. I wish you, you know, spoke to me or said something. But understand that I said that and I asked you to leave because of how I felt, out of anger or whatever. He's like, oh, it's already too late, blah, 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 whatever, citizen, whatever. But, the conversation, like, died. He wasn't being, he wasn't really trying to have a conversation with me. So I just wished him well, and I asked him, I told him to have a safe flight or whatever. And yeah, since he left, we wasn't talking. We wasn't talking for a minute. We spoke when I dropped that Q&A video that he called me. Why did you say that? You didn't have to say all that. And I'm like, Chris, what did I say? Because I think I said nothing wrong. I didn't say nothing bad about you. People don't know, and still, even with this video, they still don't know. I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, Chris, before you call my phone again, reevaluate yourself. Rethink what you're about to ask me. Rethink what you're about to say to me. And then call me back. Because I was not having it. I was at the gym working out. And I was like, no, you're not calling my phone. And I didn't say nothing wrong. So, anyway, I spoke to him later that day. He realized how he came off. Apologized. And we spoke about it. And that was that. We didn't speak for days. My friend and I FaceTimed him a few days later, and we had like a brief conversation, how you doing or whatever. It was nothing major, nothing about us getting back together to record, nothing about what we're doing or if we're gonna work together again, how are we, like nothing about us together. It was more like how you been and what you've been up to, how you doing, and that was it. It was very vague. The conversation wasn't like how it used to be. Nothing like that. And that was pretty much it. I only spoke to him like twice since he left Florida. I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but because I know this video is super long and I do apologize, but I tried my best not to go too in depth, but give enough so you understand where I'm coming from and why I'm not ready, or why I don't feel like he's ready to be in a relationship, and why I know I'm not ready to be in a relationship. And I think that was quite obvious. He knew that Josue and I would still be in communication because we had an apartment together, and in which my name was still on the lease. So not only was my name still on the lease, so I wanted to always have a cordial relationship with Josue, and I was also getting mail sent to his house, and I still am getting mail to that apartment. So yeah, so whenever I get mail, Josue hits me up, hey, you got mail, and he sends me a picture, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick it up. And I remember one time I told Chris, oh yeah, I picked up my mail from Josue, everything was fine, blah blah blah. He's aware that we had conversation. I'm thinking even one of our videos, there was a question, oh, when was the last time you spoke to your ex? And I probably mentioned, oh yeah, I'm still on the lease or whatever, so we talk here and there. But yeah, so we've built a cordial relationship, like a friendship, me and Josue. Nothing that we're getting back together. We would just talk here and there, and it was always mainly about the apartment. I get emails from the apartment all the time. So every time I get an email, if he doesn't understand it, I explain it to him, blah, 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 I forward it to him. The trip to Hawaii was super spontaneous. This is not something that Josue and I was talking about for months or for weeks. It really wasn't. It was just a few days before our flight that he was like, do you want to go after my fight? We out to Hawaii. But like very fun, very like, not we about to get together, we're together, we're back in a relationship, let's get together, forgive me, we're going to Hawaii. Like, it wasn't nothing like that. I would love to go to Hawaii. And this is somebody that I know and I'm comfortable with. He is very much comfortable with me too, which is why he asked me to go with him. But it wasn't like we were talking, trying to get back together or anything like that. That was not the case, and we're still not together. We're still very much single. I know it looks wrong, it feels wrong, but I have a friendship with him. I have a good relationship with him, and probably because we're not in a relationship, that's probably why. Because I was able to talk to him about Chris, and he was able to talk to me about whoever he wanted to talk about. Like, we built that kind of friendship. So when he asked me to go into Hawaii, I was like, oh, why not? I know to the world it's gonna look crazy. Everybody's gonna try to knock me down and talk bad about me. You crazy, you this hopper, you this, whatever the case may be. I knew that was gonna happen, and of course I didn't want it to be exposed that way, and nor did I want to post, and I didn't want people to think that we were back together or anything like that, because I knew if I posted anything, people were gonna be like, oh, you guys are back together, this is crazy. And we're not. We just went on a trip. And whatever, it looks wrong, it is what it is. I'm grown. Josue and I have history. We're comfortable with each other. We have a good relationship right now. We're cool. And that's really it, y'all. I went to Hawaii. I had an amazing time, amazing experience in Hawaii, and I thank him for inviting me on that trip, and we shared a beautiful time together. That's really it. I didn't do anything intentionally to hurt Chris. I didn't do anything on purpose to come back at him or hurt him or anything like that. I know my conscience is clean and I have a pure heart, and I won't ever want to hurt anybody. That is unlike me to do. And yeah, me being in Hawaii and me just going on vacation was just that, me going on vacation. I know it's with my ex, but if it was with anybody, any other guy, it would have been the same response, honestly. You a this hopper, you a this hopper, you a slut, you a hoe, you this, you that, how could you do this, how could you do that? But you guys don't know, nobody knows what happens behind closed doors. To end this off with Chris, we haven't really talked, we haven't spoken. Really, I feel like we really haven't spoken since he's left, because we never spoke about anything. We didn't have closure. He left off on a really bad note. We didn't speak about it, and still the last 2 times that we spoke, we didn't end that conversation. We didn't fix it. We didn't talk about it. It was kind of just left up in the air, like whatever happens happens kind of thing. So if you ask me, am I his friend? Is he still my friend? I'd hope so. I don't see why we can't be friends, honestly. I still don't think I'm ready and he's not ready. I know people are like, oh, you're not over your ex. I'm probably not over my ex. But it's still a work in progress. I didn't leave him 2 years ago, you know? Being in my own space, being in my own sanctuary, I feel strong. I feel protected. Just me and God. God will continue to guide me through this journey, and he knows what's for me, what's not for me, and everything in life are just lessons learned. And I have faith in God, and in my heart I know that I didn't intentionally hurt anybody, or I didn't mean to hurt anyone, and I move out of love. And a lot of people don't agree with the decisions that I make, but I live for myself. I don't live for nobody else. Now, if I'm in a relationship and I'm committed to somebody, I'm committed to that person. Other than that, outside of that, I'm entitled really to do whatever I feel like doing. And people are entitled to their opinion, and people could judge whoever they want to judge. It is what it is. The main reason of aloha is love, and this world needs a lot of love, and I'm all about love. So that's why I got tatted, and it's probably one of my favorite tattoos because I have that ugly tree here. But the aloha right here on my side is my favorite tattoo because it's really delicate, it's pretty. Meaning behind aloha and the story behind it that I learned in Hawaii made me want to get this tattoo, and I absolutely love it. So aloha to everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Please know that I didn't make this video to bash anybody or to talk bad about Chris or anything like that. I just wanted you to see everything from my point of view and how I was feeling, me as a woman, me as Leslie. And that's really it. I love all of you. To my supporters, thank you so much for supporting me. I know a lot of you got disappointed. Expected for me and Chris to be in a relationship together, but what's meant to be will be, and what's not won't be, and only time will tell. So thank you all so much for watching. I love every single one of you. Mwah.